Okay, good evening everyone. I think we can just start right now. The tutor the class won't be able to join today, so I'll just step in a little just to fill in for her. She's not feeling too well, so possibly she'll be fine by weekend so that she can take over by Monday. Please, if you guys can hear me, you guys can just drop an emoji. Okay. Um. So for today, we'll try. Oh, okay, Grace, you raised up your hands. You can. Okay. All right. So for today, we'll just try to talk about forms. Just for today, we'll try and talk about forms. What forms are? Let me share my screen. Can you all see my screen? So I'll be switching over to different tabs. So I might not be able to see your thumbs up or your emojis. So you guys can just, whenever I ask if you can see my screen, you can just unmute and then tell me if you can or if you cannot, because I'll be moving over from here to different screens. Right, so I'll be moving over from here now to a different tab now. So I'll just ask again if you guys can see my screen. All right, how about now? Can you guys see my screen? You can unmute and just give a feedback if you can.
Yes, 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 yes. You can see.
All right then. All right, so we'll just talk about forms. Now, forms are actually very, very essential on a website or web application. And here they said form allows us to input and submit informations directly, enabling businesses to collect valuable data like contact details, customer feedback, and lead generation, ultimately facilitating better communication and understanding of user needs while creating a more interactive and engaging experience. Now, there are different types of forms. There are feedback forms, registration forms, sign up forms, login forms. There are a lot. This is just a few. There are a lot. So let me just show you like a few samples. All right, for instance, okay, at this point, I switch now? Can you guys see this?
Yes.
All right, so this is like an example of a login screen now, a login page. So now this email, password, login, this is like a form, and this is actually very vital for users now that want to create, maybe they want to log in into the application now. They will need to enter their email, enter their password. So on the back end side of things, the the input that you actually entered will be collected and be used to sign you in into the application. This is an example of like a form, a login form. If you click on this, create an account now. Now this is another one for sign up. It's pretty simple, just straight to the point to collect the vital information that they need. I think another example of a different kind of form. It depends on what you want to details you want to collect, the data you want to collect. So this is a different website now. On this one, the only information they just need here is they need their business emails from their users, and just like a drop down to select, or what what you want to use the site for. That's what they need for their information. A different site also. Now this one, now they are even collecting more information depending on what you want. You can set it up to collect as much information as possible. So on this form now, there is like a contact form. On this form, they are saying, oh, they want the users to input their first name, last name, work email, country, state. Everything is customizable from your end as developer to create it to the user's specification. All right, so let's go into a simple one, and let's just start from something. All right, so let me just go to comment all this out. All right, so if you want to start writing a form takes in the elements for writing a form. You just write opening bracket form close. That's how to start writing your form. This is the element form. Though now, once you save, nothing shows, obviously. So everything that concerns your form, your email, password, everything that concerns your form at all will be inside this this element, this your form. Can you guys still see to this point?
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. Now, so now there are different input types. What are input types? Basically, they are just like the things that you set up inside your form depending on what you want to collect. So, okay, let me just start reading it from the beginning. It said HTML forms are the backbone of user interaction on the web. Whether you are logging in, signing up, or searching for something, forms makes it happen. One key aspect of forms is the variety of input types they offer, allowing developers to create dynamic and user-friendly interface. All right, so let's start with the first one. The most common input type used for single line text input like names, emails, or username is this text. Input type text. Most like mostly stuff that's what you see on this one's input type text, all of them, that's what they are using. All right, so let me just copy this and let's just see the outcome here. All right, this is how it looks like. So what this label does, label is just you're just trying to say, oh, okay, this is what this input is, and this is what it stands for. That's the label. This input now is where you're actually typing whatever it is that you're typing into. So let me change this name to first name itself. So now this types, they are attributes of this input. This input, you can see the input element represent a typed field, usually with a form control to allow the users to edit data, to input data from the word input. User, you are inputting data into this field. So now this type text, that means you're telling the browser that okay, what I want to do, what I'm writing inside is text. This type, it supports various different type depending on what you want to do. So now I'm clicking on control space on my keyboard, control space, it's going to give me out the different types of input that is actually supported. So I'm clicking control space. So now it has highlighted showing us the different type of inputs of types that you can actually use for your forms. There's button, checkbox. We'll be going through like the most commonly used ones from all this. So the first one that we look at the text. This is telephone. Tell like maybe you want your users to type in their phone number. This is submit. This is search. Maybe you want to implement a search functionality on your site. This is reset. On your forms now, you want to reset, let all the data that is there just clear off. This is range. We're going through all of them, but let's just stick to the first one, text now. So that's what this text does. You want to write a text inside this input element. The next one is your ID. This ID attribute is just a way to link this input with this label. I think I'm hearing a notification from, I think it's coming from the Google Meet. I can't really see my Google Meet right now, so you can just unmute and ask what you want to ask. You have a question.
Sorry, I wanted to ask if
So you wanted to ask what? I can't hear you.
I was asking if this class is going to be recorded also, this
Yes,
particular.
it's currently being recorded. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
So this ID now, it's just a way to connect this input with this label. So whatever you have here, this label now that is 4, that means this name is for this label and this ID name is for, it's just a way of connecting both. So now let's write first name, first name. So whatever you write in this ID, that's what you need to give this label for. They need to be exactly the same. Now for this name, which is this name, let me change it to first name. Now this name now, it's a way for the server to receive the inputs, whatever is being written inside this this input box now. On the server, that's on the back end side, when the server is receiving this information, it's going to tag this Yusuf now with this ID, with this name, first name on the server. This label first name is just staying on this browser. It's not going to the back end where it's going to receive. So on the back end, on wherever is the data is being collected, now it's going to be attributed with this name, first name. But while this for and this ID is just for these two to be linked together. Okay, so that's that for this first name. So you can have another one now. See, let's do first name, last name now. Label for this last name. Let me just copy it so that will be very fast. Now I'm able to edit multiple things by just clicking on. I just highlighted this and I did Control D. Control D is just going to get me anything that is similar to that, exactly the same thing, so I can edit anything at the same time. So it just makes it very fast. So if we save now, we have this by the side, last name. All right, so now that's that for the text. So let's check out the other ones that we have. Okay, so we have another input type called password. So now I'm sure one way or the other we might have encountered some sites whereby you're creating an account, and they said, okay, type in your password. 98% of the time, those fields are actually like password with password. This is what they use for it, the type of a password. So you can see it hides the user input, it's ideal for passwords, and characters are replaced with dots or asterisks. Alright, let's go back and type it. Let's see how it looks like. First name. So I'm just giving a comment so it will be very easy for us when we are going through this so it doesn't get confusing. Alright. And like I said earlier, Control D, password. Just change everything. But for clarity's sake, let me just do this again. Sorry. This text, type text. Now we are no longer writing text. We want to input a password. So we now change this. You can type it in manually, and as you're typing it in, you can see the password is there. So you can just click enter, and it will autofill it for you. Or you can just decide to say, oh, you want to see everything that is there, because you can just say control space and you can see everything, and you can just scroll down and select password. So now when we save, you can see we have password. So now whatever we write now will be protected as our password. But on the back end side, when we are sending this data to, it's actually going to be seen on the back end side. But for security purposes, as per password, when we get to JavaScript, React, we'll see more advanced ways of handling and setting up passwords on forms. But for this part, we'll just do this very simple and easy one. This is for the password. Please, can you guys still hear me? Are you still with me?
Yes,
Alright. Alright, let's check out other types also. Alright, we have email. Okay, but even before I even go further, I will just let me try and check just to be sure, which I'm 100% sure. Um, this this site now, everything, I'm sure it will be wrapped in the form, but let me just check. So now what I want to do is I want to check their code, inspect. Okay, it was taking some time to load earlier. All right. So this I don't know if your tutor told you guys earlier. This is like a developer tool. It's just a way for you to come and maybe just check codes that are on sites, for you to check errors, for you to check codes that have already been deployed, or maybe you want to do some research, you want to see what other sites, what code, how they wrote their code. You can just come here and check it. So this arrow icon, when you click on it, it just gives you the chance you can select on any part of the site, and it will show you what code is actually being written, how it's written, what it's made up of. So now I want to check this guy email. Let me check the password. All right. So now you can see. Oh shit, my laptop is hanging. Oh, can you guys still see my screen?
Yes, sir. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. So oh, please. Oh shit. Okay. So now you can see that everything is wrapped inside this form. This is the input. You can see ID, password. The type is password. Yeah. Type is password. Name password. All these extra things like border, BG white. Don't worry, they're all CSS. It's don't worry about that. But the main thing you can see is input, and it's actually being wrapped inside the form. So that's like the industry standard. Whatever any form you see out there, it's always going to be wrapped inside the form, and you can always just come and be checking it, and just to see how everything is being made. And how you do that, you just right click on your keyboard. If you right click and just go down, click on this inspect, and it's going to open it up for you, and you can just research and just dive through it and see how they did theirs. All right, let's go back to what we were. Oh shit, I have a lot of things running. All right. So the third one that we're on is email. All right. So let's go back and let's do something. Email. I would not recommend, if you guys are doing it on your own end to be copy and pasting. I would just try and be typing it out, even though it will take time, because that's how you build your muscle memory. That's how you get used to it. Okay, so don't copy and paste, please. Just try and be typing it out so that you get used to it. All right. So for the next one, email, right? And I said for this label email, you're connecting it to this input email ID email. So you've connected both together. Now for the server side email. So now we're changing the type. Since we already know that the type of this input, there's an email type, we can just type it out. But if we are not sure what it is, we can always just do control space and just click on what you want. Email. All right. So let's save. Oh, okay. Sorry. Email. Okay. And this will be the spot where you enter your email. You can see as I even click on itself, like my further other emails, samples, you can see it has even started highlighting for me to enter emails. So you just accept email. All right. The next one, number. All right. For this number now, it's maybe for numeric input, it can also include min and max. Let me just copy this. Number. Okay, a good example is age. Yeah, that goes. So you can use this to input your age. Maybe you're registering for a site and that actually requires you to enter your age. So most times on that kind of form, they would have used an input type of number for it. So ID age, name age. min and max. What this min and max attributes mean is that what it means is that okay, this is the minimum that I want to be on that, like whatever inputs this user is entering, the minimum should be one and the maximum should be 100. So you can't go, the user cannot go more than 1 to 100. The user cannot input maybe 200 or 150. It has to be between 1 to 100. Okay, let's save and see how it looks like. All right, so let's try and format this form a little, just so it looks nice a little bit on the eyes. Okay, let's give it um, BR, which is line break. So just bring this guy down. So at least looks a little bit nice. I think this is better a little. Alright, when we get to CSS, we'll explore more better ways of styling. Alright, so for the age now, you can see once I came on top of this input now, there's this up and down arrows now that is here. So I can just click on it and it keeps going, 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 going. So now if I try to input like let's say 700, yeah, accept too. But anyways, even if it actually does accept, it's not going to on the back end, it's not going to receive it to throw an error on the back end side. So it's the mean is 1, max is 100. So this one you can see, so it can't go, it's not going more than 1 as well. I'm clicking on it to throw an error. 10, it won't go more than that. Alright, so that's that for the age. So it's not only for age. Since it's number, you can use it to collect any kind of data that you want. Not it's not necessarily must be age. So, but it's just like an example that just explains it. Okay, so if you go, let's go to the next one. Checkbox. So this checkbox, what does it do? It say it allows multiple selections. It's perfect for preferences or options. Okay, so what? Okay, let me just copy this. Let's see it, then I'll explain more. Checkbox. What I did here, let me explain what I did here. I did BR times 2 and then I hit enter. What I just meant by that, what I'm communicating to VS Code is that I want to create BR line breaks. I want to create it twice, so let it give me that. So that's just what it did. So if I say BR times 20, you can even see self it has started giving me like a highlight of what it's to expect. Click enter, save. You can see it's going to give me the line breaks of 20, 20, 20 line breaks. So but I don't need that. I just need to stay consistent with the spacing. Alright, so the checkbox now, I'm sure we must have maybe encountered something like this whereby you have multiple options. Maybe there was on a form now they said, how did you hear about us? or what are your favorite food? Because I like food very well. What are your favorite food? No, um, rice. Um, just select multiple things. Shawarma, pizza. You can select multiple. So that's the checkbox. You'll be able to select multiple. So the type is checkbox. Now this name, hobby. So how you use it's actually been written inside the label. So for this one now, you don't need to give the label a four because it's actually inside the label. So it knows that okay, I'm attached to the label. Type checkbox, name hobby, value reading. This value reading is that it's also for the back end now, and on the server side now that okay, if someone comes here, let me unselect this for this reading, and I click on this reading. What it means is that when if I eventually do submit, this is what I'm going to be submitting to the server. This is what I'm going to be submitting reading by clicking on this checkbox. So this reading here is just for the UI, just for the browser, just for what the user is just seeing on the front end part. But once they select on it and they click reading and the checkbox reading, this is actually what is being sent. This is the value that's going to get sent to the server. And if they click on sport, this is actually what's going to get sent back to sport. So let's do another one. Let's do label impute type checkbox name hobby value reading mm, sleeping. Yes, I know sleeping. Right, so I can select that and what if I just select just this sleeping is actually what's going to get sent back to the server. So now this name you can I don't know if you guys notice this, you can see name, name, name. So this is just a way of grouping them because they are all related to each other. So you give them a name, the same name. It's like a category, just like you saying a category, or maybe a category of like you say favorite food now is a category rice, beans. If I let's even do that one save. So the sports, maybe that might be more relatable. Beans. Hmm. So now let's change this from hobby to like food now. Can see. So this one we need to change this to rice, beans. Yeah. I think this is still a little bit better as an example. So on the back end now, it's going to have like a section where it displays all this data. And all this data they all belong to the category under food. So and the user selects that okay, likes rice, this has this value, or beans or yam, whatever it's been selected is going to be under that category. That's just what the checkbox is all about. It just allows the user to be able to select multiple options. You can select multiple. That's why it's the checkbox. Let me see if that site actually had this. I think the site maybe this guy has an example of that checkbox. See. Are you guys still with me? Can you guys see hear me?
Yeah, very well.
Yes.
All right, all right.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, okay. They didn't do that here. All right, no problem. Let's continue. All right, now This is radio input type. Now, this input type radio is used for selecting one option from a group. So now this is like the opposite of checkbox. Checkbox allows you to select multiple, you can select multiple options, but for radio you can only select one. Most times you see it in maybe like a yes or no kind of like situations where you just have to select one answer. For instance, now male or female. If you like in gender, are you male, are you female, male, female. Right, so let's copy this and see how it looks like. Uh, radio dual. BR times 2, enter, save. Alright, let me even give this guy P. Let me give it. Okay, let's give it something like this. Alright, so for the gender now, for which is this the input type radio, you can only select one. Now that I've selected this male, now if I come and select female, the male gets unchecked and female will be the one selected. That's just how you can only select one. While for the checkbox, it allows you to be able to select multiple. You can uncheck, check as much as you can, but with this is just one. That's what that's just the difference between both of them. So the input type is radio, and same thing like the favorite foods, whereby the name is like a category of how you are grouping all of them together. Same thing with the radio too, giving all of them gender. So on the server side now, it knows that all these inputs they actually fall under the category of gender, and it knows that okay, once this the user selects male, this is not this mail that gets sent actually to the server, to the back end. It is whatever you input here as this value, that actually what is going to get sent. So if here now it's actually written male, and here I wrote animal, even though the person comes here and selects mail here and because it's saying mail, what is actually sending, if it does submit, is sending its animal that will get recorded. So it's you as a developer that is going to set this up, that set it up to what it's supposed to be. They are just seeing this and they are selecting, but when they select, the value of what they are selecting is would have been set up already down for them. So let me change this back to mail. All right, so let's go to another. These are also like very there are a lot, I'll show you, like I did control space bar. You can see that there are a lot, but it's not all of them that are very like that are used, my commonly get. A lot of them they're all being used actually, but we'll just talk on the most commonly used ones. You can explore the rest a little bit later, but let's here to all right, let's go to the next one. Dates. Okay. So the input type dates, it just lets user select a date from a calendar. Alright, so let's copy it and let's see what it looks like. Dates. Oh yeah, like date of birth. That's good. That's a good example. Date of birth. So this is how it looks like. This is like the generic one. This is just like the standard, just the very plain normal one, but you can always edit it, you can always customize it to with CSS. There are other libraries, there are other frameworks that can help you. There are with more stylish ones that you can use. But for just plain HTML, this is just how it looks like. So you just can just click on it and it shows you the dates, and you can select today, and it just auto fills it for today's date, November 29th, the year. You can select any, the user can select anything, and that's actually what will get recorded. So you can see label for date of birth. You can give it anything, any name, but they just have to just ensure that they are the same. This and this are the same. Alright, so that's that for the input type date. This is very easy and straightforward. BR times 2. Let's go down. Input type file. Okay, so the next one, input type file. Now it allows users to be able to upload from their system, not necessarily laptop. It can be from your phone, whatever device that you're on. So this file is what allows you to be able to upload. Sometimes if you are on a site now, they say, okay, upload, your profile picture, upload your resume, upload document. So this is actually how it's been done with the input type file. Let's copy this. Okay, level 4. Let's see and let's see what it looks like. Okay, so the input type is just file. That's just the name, file. So when you click on it now, so it opens and everything. You can select anything. Let's select HTML class 4 now, and it gets saved there. Though there's more complexity to it than this, sure, but this is just like the base. This is just how it works. But once we get to JavaScript, you will see how we can actually get it to display it. But this is how it works. This is the first step of getting it. But this is how you use it basically. You upload, choose your file, and it gets saved here. So even if it's documents, not only images, and you can always like customize it to select. Maybe you don't want it to be images, you want it to be Excel document, or even image itself. You want it to be some specific images, maybe only JPEG or only PNG. You can always customize it. So the next one we said the submit type, a button to submit the form data. General purposes, input type, submit. Okay. Okay. So once you are done with your form, depending on how you want to set it up, the kind of information you want to collect from your user, at the end of that your form, there will be a submit button where your users can hit submit, and all the data that they've entered will just, when you click on submit, will get submitted. You guys can see, let me zoom this in. You can see when I click on submit, you can see my URL now is saying, okay, first name is equals to this and last name is equals to this and password is equals to this. Yeah, so now it's checking all the details, all this input, everything I added inside the form element, and it's getting it. So I mean I had added like data inside the forms. That's what is going to be inside here. So let's try that out now and see. Let me refresh. Let me close this. Remove this. Let me add something there. Let's just add this and see. Can okay. So you can see now. First name Yusuf and last name is this. Password is this. So that's how it gets could collect all those data and then get sent to the server that's going to process this information and maybe save it on a database. Yeah, but now your input, your submit button has to also be inside your form, and it has to have this submit. And for that your form, there should always be only just one submit button, just one submit input. That so the form knows that it's looking for just one type that is submit. So to be listening for that. So whenever you click on submit, so it gets triggered and it collects all the data for submission. So there's also a button. You can also do it another way. But okay, when we get there, we can talk about that. Since we're just talking about input types for now. Alright, so that's that for input types for a few examples. Can you guys still hear me?
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, all right. So let me go back up and just talk about a few things and some additional things. So now you can see that when I click on this submit, it just gets submitted by coming here and saying, oh, these are all the details. You can also these are like you can add like a validation, just a few form validations that if the user has not imputed something inside this form, you should not be able to submit. You can say, oh, maybe you want some fields, you want the first name to be compulsory, you have to fill it. Last name is compulsory, password is compulsory, email is compulsory, maybe age is optional, maybe all the rest might be optional, but you want first name, last name, email, password to be compulsory. So there's an attribute called required. Once you just write it on your input, the user must enter something inside. So it's just very required, and just save. So you save now and say you want to click, and the user wants to click on submit now, and see he gets this prompt that please fill out this field. You will not be able to submit until you've filled out that field. So assuming it's filled now, okay, everything will go well and it will get sent, or the action will get sent. So let's do that. Let's add it for the four fields that we want to add. This for required, to add it on our password. We want to add it on our email to required. So okay, first one, let me enter it. So let me see if it's going to go back. Click on submit. No, we need to fill out this one too. Okay, so that's just how it works. And same thing for that too. Then it gets submitted. Alright, so another thing I think I want to add to this is now as it is now, maybe you just want to you want to like give like a just a little brief information of what they're expected to do. Even though this label actually it's actually straight to the point. I think it's self-explanatory. You want them to enter their first name, but you can still come on just for being specific, and it's called something called placeholder. It's just a placeholder text. I'm sure we must have seen it. Let me see if those sites actually have it. Yeah. So you can see that inside this input now, there's something called business email now. This is their label. This is their label. Now you see that required that we added, which is compulsory. That's what this star. That's the star. So this star means it's compulsory. If I click on this submit now, I'm sure I won't be allowed to submit. Yeah, it's not submitting because it's required. That's the star, and star is required. Now this business email that is inside here, because it must be valid email. This email, that's the placeholder. And which Redis are you using? This is another placeholder text. Let me see if this other one, this ones don't have it. Okay, yeah. So this upstash, they actually have it, which is what they added, what they wrote inside this email and password. So they did not add a label to it, but rather they decided to keep it simple and just like imputed a placeholder instead of the label. So let's try something like that. See, placeholder. Okay, let me type it from scratch so you can see this. Placeholder equals to bracket. Then let me say enter your first name, save. So inside the input now, that's what gets just like a placeholder, just like a dummy text, but it's not a value or anything. So once the user starts typing in their name, it clears off. But as long as it's empty, this placeholder is what's going to be there. So whatever you write there, that's what's going to show there. So we can do the same thing for all those ones too. Placeholder, or anything you want, kindly your first name, sorry, last name. I meant. Alright, so yeah, I think these are kind of like the basic things for forms for now for some of these inputs. All right, let's go to the next. Let's go to the next topic. Oh shit, I think time has even gone. Yeah, let's quickly just go to the next one. Okay, I think we've done this. Oh no, we'll come back to this. Let's go. Okay, yeah, let's continue here. All right, labels and field sets. What are labels and field sets? All right, let's say set forms are essential for collecting user inputs, and HTML provide tools like label. Okay, we've talked about label a little, and field sets to make forms more accessible and organized. Okay, so let's dive into what these elements are and how to use them. What is a label? A label is a code label. Okay, a code label in HTML associates a text description with a form input, improving accessibility and user experience. When used correctly, clicking on the label will focus the associated input field. So I know we've used the label, we've been using the label for a while back now. So I think we're a little bit familiar with what the label is. So let's see more. They said the four attributes connect the label to the input field with a matching ID. And I think I mentioned this whereby I said no, the four and the label, that's what connects both together. And so I said alternatively, you can wrap the input directly inside the label, just like how we did for uh, just like how we did for the checkbox and the radio, where they were actually inside the label. Exactly this, it's actually inside the label, so you can wrap that. That's another alternative way of doing it. So if the input is wrapped inside the label, you don't need to write a for. for it, because now it knows that everything that is inside it's is like its children and they are already connected. Okay, so what are the benefits of of connecting of writing this for ID or using the label? Is that it enhances accessibility for screen readers, it improves usability by expanding the clickable area to include the label. All right, let's go to the next one, field sets. Okay, that's the one that we haven't talked about. So that a field set groups related inputs together, providing a visual and logical structure. This is especially useful for complex forms with multiple sections. Alright, let's pick this and see how it looks like. Alright, let's go, let's come down. Let's still keep it before the submit button. Field sets. Let's save and see what it looks like. Alright, so this is how it looks like. Let's give it this BR also. Tips 2. So as you can see now, I think this is even it even makes sense that grouping personal information inside this, so first name, last name. So this field set will just like give you that kind of like border. So everything inside, they are all like a section under personal information. I think even this first name, last name, maybe password, email, age, self can even be something like that. So this legend is what is here now, the personal information. So the legend is going to get wrapped inside the border, then you can continue with the label and the input. Okay, I think let's do that for the ones that we've done earlier. Let's wrap that. Okay, let's call it field sets. Okay, I cut the ending part, so I want to come place it where I want to end it, and I want to end it on the number. Okay, let's save it and see what it looks like first. Okay, so this is what it looks like. So I know now we've not added the was the other part, the label legend. Sorry, this legend, the legend is actually what's going to now be inside, like in between that border now. So let's give it a legend. Let's see what it looks like. Legend, and let's say it's not info. Okay, okay, so this is one, it can be like one section. So let's close this. Let's give it, okay, small section. Yeah. Okay. Let's call this guy. Let's give it another field set. What can we call this guy? What can we want to categorize favorite foods, gender, date of birth. Okay, let's say more information. Field set. So what I did here is for my VS Code, I just write field set and I hit the tab and it auto completed it for me. So that was just the tab. Right. So let me go and close it on. Let me just move this guy. And let me stop it on the file. If you save, okay, it's like now we've put this guy inside a different section now. Let's give it to its own legend, and let's call it others, others, right? Right. I think this submit is a little. Bring this guy on a little. Let's even remove this guy totally. Yeah. All right. So you can see that though I've been adding like these comments, but I would actually really like encourage us to imbibe in something like that, to always be leaving comments on your code, especially when once you become more advanced, once you get into CSS, JavaScript, React, when you're writing a lot of codes, you're writing a lot of things, because it's also good for you yourself, because you get to know, oh, what this code does, maybe one part does what this does, or if someone else is also going through your code, so they can be able to easily read it and understand, oh, this is what this means, this is what this section is. It also makes it more organized for you yourself as a developer. And even when, like, most times recruiters and people that actually want to like even give you employment, they will like, oh, give me the your GitHub link. And most times, it's not most, but sometimes they can just go through your code and want to check how you write your code, because it's also like one criteria to some of them. They'll just check it and say, okay, this person, okay, knows how to write. Okay, okay, this is good, because in the coding industry, coding world entirely is about collaboration, and you're coming into a team, so they wouldn't want someone that will just come and be giving them issues and just writing anyhow. So like just try to imbibe that spirit right from now of leaving comments on your code. All right, so let's just stop here for today. This is 8:37. I'm sure a lot of us wants to sleep. All right, so do you have any question? Do you guys have? Are you guys hearing me? Are are you guys still with me?
Yeah.
All right, please. Do you guys have any questions? Let me go back to. Do you guys have any questions? Okay. Obed raised his hand up. Okay,
Yes,
Obed.
sir.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. My question is, why are you, can you hear me?
Sorry, the network is breaking. Can you come again?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Hello?
I can hear you. I can hear you now.
Hello?
I can hear you, Obed. Mr. Obed, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay. My question is that why are you, yes, my question is that why are you putting the break tag twice? Why not once?
Okay, so I was just trying to give it more space. So you can, if I remove, let me remove this now. I used to see my screen. Let me remove this now.
Yeah.
Alright,
Uh-huh.
I've removed it now. Let me save now. You can see the first name and last name, they are very joined together. And if I remove it entirely now and save, you can see how it gets disorganized a little. So if I add this first one, the first break, and save, it brings it to the next line. If I add the next break and save, it gives it more gap and more speed. So it's just to make it more presentable. That's why there's is nothing really serious about it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Emmanuel. Emmanuel, I think you have your hands raised up.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Good evening. I can hear you.
Good evening, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. And that field where we use required to make it compulsory that the user must fill in their detail.
Yeah.
There's always a star that is attached to it on the website that star, that asterisk,
Yeah.
is it like anytime we use that require that star, is it compulsory that it must be there? Or we are the one to also code that star?
No, no, it's for that required now, for that star now, there's nothing really special there. I can just come here now and just add it now like this. Yeah, I can just come here and add it. It's sometimes it's all about styling. It's all about styling or how you choose to style it. It's not about your if you add the required, the star will show. No, it's just your own personal styling on it.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. Femi Ojo, you have your hand raised up.
Yeah, good evening. Mine is just a clarification. I want to know if it is still very much possible for the break tag to be functional, even while we don't close it. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Can you
just
hear me?
yeah, I can hear you.
I said, is it possible for the break tag to still be very functional without closing it, like that slash at the back?
Okay. So my VS Code now it's more for ES6. That's it's for the most listed versions. But previously a while back you can actually do it without actually adding the slash to close it, and it's actually going to work. But norm serve is even supposed to work. It shouldn't cause an issue at all. But because my VS Code is like on the latest version, and for the latest version of ES6 for the browser, it adds the slash, but it doesn't really affect your code. So you can still work even without this. If you have like a lesser version, it will still work. Hello? Oh shit, I lost my network.